While exploring the Mojave outpost, we find the NCR barracks. Inside the barracks is actually a bar. Sitting at the bar is a young cowgirl named Cass.
Word is, one of the snipers in the nest on the roof spotted smoke from the east. Yeah, her name's Ghost or something. Fucking scary, ooh. Guess it's 'cause you'll never see her till you're dead. NCR and their goddamn nicknames. As if Caesar himself's gonna piss and run if he hears them. Anyway, go on and head up top. Ask her what's going on if you haven't already. I don't much give a shit.
Cass is available to be a companion later in the game. Don't worry, I'll make a video all about Cass. But for now, let's head to the rooftop and talk with Ranger Ghost.
You a courier? If so, this might be your lucky day. If you don't mind walking a bit. And your eyes are good. I think there's trouble in Nipton. No traffic from there on the roads. While I can explain that away, the smoke from the town I can't. I'm sure it's been hit. What I need to know is if they survived it. Might be powder gangers with all that smoke in the air. If there's anybody left, they'd be in the Nipton town hall. Go there. Check it out. Let me know what you find. All right. Look at you. All fired up and ready to go. Wish the others around here had that kind of attitude. Listen, I don't want you getting killed for this. So if you head there and run into trouble, I'm asking for eyes and ears, not your life. All right?
So Ghost is seeing smoke coming from the town of Nipton. As we follow the road east, a man runs from the town of Nipton, seemingly elated.
Yeah! Who won the lottery? I did! Smell that air! Couldn't you just drink it like booze?
What lottery is he talking about?
What lottery? The lottery, that's what lottery! Are you stupid? Only lottery that matters. Oh my God, smell that air!
We were told by Ranger Ghost the powder gangers may be here. Is this guy a powder ganger?
Powder ganger? What? I mean, yeah, used to be, sure. But not no more. Powder gang is small time, man. I'm a winner! I won the motherfucking lottery!
The man is too elated to really tell us anything useful. But as we head into the town, we see a huge bonfire. This is the source of the smoke that Ranger Ghost saw all the way from the Mojave outpost. Inside the bonfire, we see tires, logs, but also human remains. We also find white lottery tickets. What kind of lottery went on here? To better explore Nipton, we need a bird's eye view. We can enter many of the houses in this town, but few of them have anything interesting. Of note, there is one house filled with booby traps. Upon entering, we see a cage filled with scorpions, and we see a dead legionnaire lying in the kitchen. We see tripwires across the doorways to the kitchen and the bedrooms. Tripping these will trigger shotgun traps set up on the other side of the wall. You can just about reach them to disarm them by peeking around the corner and activating them. The trigger for the scorpion trap is actually a weighted switch that leads to one of the bedrooms where we find the safe. As soon as you trigger the switch, the scorpions will all charge you, but most of them are fairly small, so you should be able to finish them all off one by one in vats. There are also landmines all over the floor. We find many containers, including a safe that we can unlock, and in one of the containers we find a note, Declaration of Vital Essence. This house presumably belonged to a man named Henry Collins. He's a little mad. He's completely preoccupied with something he calls his vital essence. He says that the town has been going to hell ever since Mayor Stein waltzed in from the west saying he'd put Nipton on the map. This man Henry thinks that the mayor's true intention is to steal Henry's vital essences. The reason he booby-trapped this house was to protect his vital essences. Now, I don't even want to speculate what sort of bodily fluid he considers to be his personal vital essence, so we're just gonna let that one go. In another house, immediately upon entry, we get attacked by a Mr. Gutsy.
Kill them all, and let God sort them out. Running will only make the pain last longer.
The terminal in this house tells us the story. The owner of this house was pretty good with robotics. He fixed up a terminal for the mayor, and in return, he was given access to a prostitute named Rosie. but he's looking for more than just sex with a prostitute. He has this mad scheme whereby if he repairs Mr. Gutsy robots, he thinks he's going to impress a woman. He's waiting for some new gal to come into town, and his plan is to show his robots to the new gal, one by one, to astound her with his unmatched ability to repair these robots. His motives are not love, they're less than noble. He's just tired of paying Rosie. He's looking for a cheaper option. To the west of the main hall is the Nipton Hotel. Inside, we find the corpses of NCR soldiers. Looks like the Legion got lucky. They not only found town residents to kill, but also soldiers of their sworn enemy. In the house directly south of the Nipton General Store, we find a Sunset Sarsaparilla Star bottle cap on one of the bookshelves. The tall building on the western side of town is the Nipton General Store. Inside, we find a crippled man named Boxcars.
God damn it! I was nodding off until you barged in here, and I don't hurt when I sleep. Just give me some goddamn medics and fuck off, will ya? The Legion happened. What the fuck's it look like? Prize for second place was I got to live, but they beat my fucking legs with hammers. I'm fucking crippled, get it?
Even though the man looks like a powder ganger, we can have sympathy upon him and give him some med-X.
Then you're a fucking dream come true, ain't you? How much you gonna give me?
Giving him 5 gives us some good karma, but that's about it.
5 doses? Nice. A fella could put himself out of his misery with 5 doses. You're looking at the second place winner of the Nipton lottery. That asshole Swanick took first place, so him they let walk. It ain't like we came to Nipton to play it. Me and my crew had it worked out to kidnap some NCR troopers who come to town to get laid. Had it all worked out with the scumbag mayor. We were going to ransom them off, keep their weapons for ourselves, a nice score. We get in position, and next thing we know, we're surrounded by those fucking Legion freaks. They dragged us and everybody else into the center of town. And that asshole with a dog on his head, he starts talking about how we're bad people. He said we needed to be punished for what we did. Not all of us, but some of us. And then he gives everyone a fucking lottery ticket. He started drawing tickets, and that's how people got punished. First up was the lucky losers. They got decapitated. Guess that's lucky cause it's pretty quick. Then came the crucifixions. God damn, but those went on and on and on. Third place runners-up got enslaved. I got the fuck beat out of my legs, and the winner, they let go free.
Well, what about the mayor?
Him? When his ticket came up, they burned him alive on a pile of tires.
Did he say something about slaves?
Yeah, a bunch of those Legion fucks dragged him off right away. They were headed east, if you're feeling heroic.
Well, he should be happy if we tell him we're gonna save those slaves.
Don't act like you'd be doing me a favor. I don't give a fuck.
He tells us that the Legion kidnapped some other powder gangers and took them away. We'll see if we can find them after we finish exploring the town of Nipton. So it looks like the Legion rolled in with a scheme to kill the NCR, powder gangers, and the residents of this town. Sounds like the mayor died as well. Back outside and walking down the main street, we see a number of crosses erected along the road. Here we find 3 powder gangers crucified. If we try to release them, we get a message saying that by doing so, we would kill them. So we can either leave them hanging to die from exposure and blood loss, or put them out of their misery. The large building at the end of the town is the town hall. As we get closer, legionaries exit, led by none other than Vulpes Inculta.
Don't worry. I won't have you lashed to a cross like the rest of these degenerates. It's useful that you happen by. I want you to witness the fate of the town of Nipton, to memorize every detail. And then, when you move on, I want you to teach everyone you meet the lesson that Caesar's Legion taught here, especially any NCR troops you run across.
Exactly what kind of lesson does he want to teach?
Where to begin? That they are weak and we are strong? This much was known already. But the depths of their moral sickness, their dissolution, Nipton serves as the perfect object lesson. Nipton was a wicked place, debased and corrupt. It served all comers, so long as they paid. Profligate troops, powder gangers, men of the Legion, such as myself. The people here didn't care. It was a town of whores. For a pittance, the town agreed to lead those it had sheltered into a trap. Only when I sprang it did they realize they were caught inside it too. Yes, and herded them to the center of town. I told them their sins, the foremost being disloyalty. I told them that when legionaries are disloyal, some are punished, the others made to watch. And I announced the lottery. Each clutched his ticket, hoping it would set him free. Each did nothing, even when loved ones were dragged away to be killed.
So the Legion is cool with slaughtering innocents.
Ha! Innocent? Hardly. Cowardly, though. They outnumbered us, yet not once did they try to resist. They stood and watched as their fellows were butchered, crucified, and burned. One by one, they stood and hoped their turn would not come. Each cared only for himself.
We can respond by saying that his crimes are unforgivable, by ignoring him, or by agreeing to do what he asks and spreading word of the Legion's atrocities. I have no desire to give these legionaries the fame they crave. Instead, I'll tell him how I really feel.
As are all crimes. If you feel strongly about it, attack us, and soon you won't feel a thing.
I know that Vulpes Inculta is important to the Legion. I know that he has many quests for us later if we decide to work with the Legion. But this man slaughtered and burned everyone in this town, and I have a rare opportunity to do something about it. Despite the consequences, I took the opportunity to execute him.
Retribution. Had enough? You'll pay for that.
Retribution.
Retribution.
Inside the town hall, one of the first things we see are the dead bodies of the former residents of this town. Vulpes Inculta told us that he morally objected to what went on here. Gambling, crime, prostitution, corruption. And he used the weaknesses of the people of this town, and in particular the mayor, to invade it. In his mind, these people got what they deserved. The town was a worthless home of vice. His ethics could not permit it to exist. Like Vulpes Inculta, I too disapprove of what went on here, but is mass murder really the appropriate penalty for prostitution and gambling, drinking and drug abuse? This town hall is split into many different floors occupying different cells. At the very top, we find the mayor's office with a terminal. I'm going to tell you the story we find in this terminal while I explore the rest of the hall. We learned that the man who repaired the mayor's terminal was Tony. This is the guy who had the Mr. Gutsy in his home, the guy whose plan was to seduce a new girl who came to town by showing off his robots. The mayor is a con artist who came from out west. He stopped here at Nipton and convinced the town people to make him mayor so that he could, quote, put the town on the map. He did so by turning it into a den of prostitution. With him, he brought two women, Rosie and Sylvia, who attracted the soldiers from the nearby Mojave outpost. Because his girls are attracting new business to the town, he forced the local shops to give him a percentage of their profits. His ultimate plan is to stay here in Nipton, collecting tax from the local businesses and whoring out these two girls, Rosie and Sylvia, until he accrues enough money to head back to the hub. Longtime Fallout players will recognize the hub from Fallout 1. In Fallout 1, the hub was a center of trade and commerce, relatively untouched since the bombs dropped. It's also a major location occupied by the NCR. When Mayor Joseph Stein learned that the Powder Gangers had escaped from the nearby NCR correctional facility, he sent out a messenger to contact the Powder Gangers and tell them that Nipton is open for trade. And he offered the Powder Gangers free turns with the girls as door prizes. He makes a point to say how silly he thinks the name Powder Gangers is. He's working hard to make sure that the Powder Gangers and the NCR troops don't meet. The troopers only come at night, and the Powder Gangers typically come during the day. Mayor Stein thinks that if he can keep that going, he'll reduce the risk of there being open gunfights in the streets of Nipton. In the last entry, we learned that the mayor was approached by a man named Mr. Fox. This was Vulpes Inculta. Inculta told Mayor Stein that the Legion wanted to make an example of both the Powdergangers and the NCR. The Powdergangers for harassing the Legion, and the NCR for obvious reasons. Vulpes Inculta convinced Mayor Stein to set up an elaborate plot. Mayor Stein was to convince the Powdergangers to kidnap the NCR Rangers when they came to the town to use the prostitutes at night. This would have both groups in the town at the same time, which is unusual because, as we learned earlier, the Powdergangers typically arrived during the day. After the Powdergangers kidnap the NCR soldiers, the Legion will descend upon the town and kidnap both groups. Mayor Stein doesn't care, he has no love for either groups, and in exchange, Vulpes Inculta promised to pay Mayor Stein 8,000 caps. Mayor Stein thinks that this is a windfall. He's so excited. Of course he said yes. The 8,000 caps is enough money for him to leave Nipton and head right back to the NCR hub. He began stockpiling supplies at a nearby safe house in preparation for his hasty exit. We find his safe house near a Poseidon Energy gas station. There's a shack near the gas station, and inside we find sacks of food, a gun closet, and other containers filled with weapons, ammunition, and food. We already know that Mayor Stein never made it out of Nipton to secure these supplies. Both Boxcars and Vulpes Inculta told us that the Legion betrayed Mayor Stein, and he was one of the first residents of the town burned on the bonfire. On the desk of Mayor Stein, we find the Big Book of Science, which grants us 3 points of science. And behind a locked door in the mayor's office, we find a Nuka-Cola victory. All that's left to do is to track down the Powdergangers that the Legion kidnapped. Following the road east from Nipton, we eventually spy a Legion camp in the hills above. On their knees around the campfire are 2 Powderganger prisoners. The Legion soldiers are occupying the nearby tents, so we need to wander around the camp and kill them all before we can free the Powdergangers. We see from the lottery tickets on the ground that these are the same Powdergangers that came from Nipton. After freeing the Powdergangers, Boone expresses his approval.
They got what they had coming. Glad we were the ones to deliver it. Pisses me off that Legion slavers can just operate on NCR turf like that. If we hadn't caught up to them, they'd probably have a clear path to the river, no one to stop them. There should be patrols, checkpoints. We got greedy, overstretched. Now our own territory is insecure.
By freeing these kidnapped Powdergangers, we've unlocked additional dialogue with Boone. We're going to save this dialogue when we explore more of Boone's personal story in an upcoming video. If we go back to Boxcars and tell him that we rescued his friends, he doesn't really care.
You know what I'd be real excited about? If you'd showed up and saved me before they smashed my legs. Now, why don't you fuck off and let me sleep, hero? That'll be real exciting too.
Charming, Boxcars, charming. We can then go back to Ghost at the Mojave outpost to tell her the sad news.
Legion this far west? You're fucking kidding me. That's not outside the border. They're moving in, and fast. Nipton wasn't the most friendly town, but... Alright, thanks for checking on that. Wish it set my mind at ease. Now I'm more on edge than ever. Fucking Mojave's going to hell, and all I can do is sit here and watch.
And that is the full story of Nipton. And I have to ask you, did Nipton deserve it? On one hand, it was a town of vice. The only product they offered was prostitution. The NCR soldiers and the townsfolk regularly came there just to sleep with Rosie. The mayor was corrupt. He was only there to line his pocketbook with plans to ultimately leave. In my opinion, I don't think it's the Legion's job to play morality police, to execute people whom they think are impure. Now that may make me sound like a hypocrite. After all, I executed Vulpes Inculta and all of the legionaries after they did something that I thought was impure. But here's the major difference. I think people should be free to make really bad decisions, because only by being free are they even able to make really good decisions. People who make really good decisions can found farms, start businesses, rebuild society. And it's up to people in their own communities to set up rules for their communities that govern specific behaviors, to set up rules that either allow or ban vices like prostitution, gambling, and chem abuse. Those small societies need to make those decisions for themselves. Yes, that means that there may be a lack of order. Sure, things may get messy. But I believe that if more people are free to make bad decisions, to lead chaotic, messy lives, ultimately most of them will make the right decisions. And over time, if allowed to stay free, those societies will self-regulate and become more prosperous and start to rebuild culture. Therefore, I don't think it's the role of the Legion or anyone else to go on a crusade to start exterminating people whom they disapprove of, and it therefore falls to those who can to defend people, even if they are disgusting, corrupt people, because freedom is worth defending. But that is just one man's opinion, and I know there are plenty of those who disagree. I would love to read either your agreements or disagreements in the comments section below. We'll be exploring the Legion in greater depth when I do my series of videos on the Legion, their world philosophy, and the choices they make as a faction in the Mojave Wasteland. I'm also working my way towards a big video on our companion Boone, where we will learn more about his private tragedy. So if you want to make sure that you don't miss those videos, be sure to subscribe and click that bell notification button. And if you like what I do and you'd like to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. Patreon subscribers get access to a private channel on my Discord server, as well as a bunch of other cool Oxhorn perks. But more than anything, ladies and gents, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, with a brand new video.